Hello everyone, welcome to CyberScoop TV. Greg Otto, your editor-in-chief here. We're coming from the floor of the 2019 RSA conference. I'm talking with Jen Miller-Osborn, the Deputy Director of Threat Intelligence for Palo Alto Networks. Jen, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
So, Unit 42 and Palo Alto, you guys have been busy. A lot of research coming from you. Let's sort of go back and go over some of the stories that have come out in the past couple months. Let's start with Shamoon. Shamoon has resurfaced. What are we seeing there?
We saw a little different activity this time. The targeting was broader. It ended up hitting some components of Europe, and it was in the press where some Italian firms were hit, which was a shift from previously. And also this round, instead of having that flash of some sort of anti-US usually propaganda, there was an embedded message from the cron. It was literally embedded in the malware, so only reverse engineers would see it.
Okay.
So it was interesting in that it was clearly put there on purpose because they knew someone was going to get the malware, they knew people were going to look at it, and they left it there as kind of like a little, I guess almost an Easter egg for people to find, which was a shift from how they had done things in the past. But in a lot of other ways, the malware was exactly the same. It was just, it had a set time to execute. You know, this last round had two different components to help it do the spreading around, which we didn't see before. We saw them kind of all wrapped in together, but it's the same wiper module, it's the same methods of sort of spreading. It was just a new round of attacks.
So do you see them growing more sophisticated, or are they just sort of spreading their wings, or how do you see them evolving from like an actual skill set?
We haven't necessarily seen a huge evolution in technical ability for especially the malware surrounding Shamoon. It's been a constant reuse of the same thing with some tweaking, but they also haven't had to. They haven't been forced into that direction because they've actually, as has been shown out in the press, they've managed to be successful in some degree each time with actually, you know, directly affecting companies and having them lose data or having them, they have to shut down work for a while. The initial attack with Saudi Aramco, I think they had to go back to fax machines.
Okay.
If I recall correctly, for a while it was so bad. So when their end goal is destruction, they don't necessarily have to be as stealthy or as sneaky or even as more technical because they don't care if they're detected. Their entire goal is just to destroy things.
Right, yeah, I guess you don't have to be an expert at swinging the sledgehammer.
Exactly.
As long as the hammer does the work.
Yeah, they're not trying to maintain presence, they just want to destroy stuff.
Okay, so to a different attackers, we've seen Zabrosi or Fancy Bear, APT 28, long link to Russia. You've recently had some research about some new things that they're doing. Give us a little bit more details.
We have. The most interesting one to us was a new tool that we called Cannon because it's using email for C2, which is not something we've seen in a while. It's not a new technique. A number of years ago, we used to see it a lot more prevalently as a way for attackers to kind of hide because the traffic isn't going through the normal protocols that it would be looked at. And when they're using email, nothing in the email traffic itself or in the body of the message is malicious. They're just sending data back and forth, and that's how the malware is being told what to do. So it's an interesting way to try to hide in an area that may not be getting quite as much attention, or it might be a little bit harder to signature off of. So that was our favorite, and we've also seen them continue to evolve with adding more programming languages to their skill set. They're one of the groups that likes to have a number of variants of their tools, but they'll use a number of different programming languages. And we recently published that they came out with another version of CyberScoop, but this time they used the Go malware language, which is starting to become a bit more popular, actually. We're seeing a bit more of an uptake. But that's something that's kind of in par for the course for the group, where they like to have their tools, but they'll have it written in multiple different language variants, but the functionality tends to stay largely the same.
Yeah, coming off of that and talking about the different languages that they're using, what's the strategy there? Is the strategy just in case when something gets burned, saying, okay, well, we burned it in Go, we can go back to jQuery or JavaScript or Python or whatever? Is that generally what the strategy is?
It does shift the detection a bit as they do the different languages, so that's what we assess they're probably doing. We've actually seen that with another totally different attack campaign known as Oil Rig, and they do the same thing. They'll have multiple variants of their tools, but they'll do each in different programming languages. So it's not something that's limited just to Russia kind of attributed things. It's something we're seeing we're seeing a couple of different groups doing the same kind of approach.
Okay. And then finally, I think this was your newest research. As a new dad, I have to ask about it. Baby Shark, obviously, that it was very clear what you were doing with the name, but tell us a little bit more about this report.
So Baby Shark was really interesting. It shares a lot of similarities from playbooks that have been attributed previously to North Korean activity.
Okay.
So that was initially what made us interested, and then it's very, very targeted. It's very low volume. It's clearly, they're doing a lot of research on the people they want to spearfish. and they're trying to hide by spoofing legitimate people that are also active in the region and maybe in the types of the news items they're going after. So most of the lures that we found were specifically related to North Korea and a lot of the nuclear talks that were going on. So what we've seen is there's definitely an espionage-related group that's very much focused on Asia and in collecting data, particularly for espionage purposes in that region. And they're very low-volume campaigns, so the odds of seeing the malware are significantly smaller because they're being very careful in their targets and making sure they're going after people that potentially have access to data that they would be interested in.
Great. Jen, really appreciate you hopping aboard with us to discuss all this, and hopefully we'll talk to you in the future.
Awesome, thank you.
For more of our videos, check out our YouTube page, and for more on RSA and all things cybersecurity, check out cyberscoop.com. I'm Greg Otto. Thanks for watching.